Purple Daily is daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.
I will ride with this group.
Seriously, man. Please.
And away we go.
Judd's Camp Notes.
All right. A little Sunday brunch with Judd Zulgad's Camp Notes here, live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. Good morning.
Morning. Good morning. It's been 2 eventful days, full padded practices. And now they're going to do a walkthrough today, so there will be no Camp Notes off Sunday, but just a little bit of a tease. We'll be doing a little bit of stock rising, stock falling.
That's right.
For Monday. So
Yeah.
we are we've got plenty in store after what I saw the past 2 days.
And then Monday night, you got the first night practice of the training camp season here. So yeah, let's get right into it here. By the way, if you are joining us here on this Sunday morning, either live or maybe you're catching this sometime later on your Sunday or Monday morning, whenever you're catching up, we are almost to 60,000 subscribers on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. So thank you to all of you who've clicked that like button on these videos, the subscribe button. Over on the audio side, if you're an Apple or Spotify listener, a 5-star rating and a positive review only keeps growing the best Vikings fan community you're going to find here, Purple Daily. So Judd's been grinding it out at practice every day for like 2 weeks here. Now, I'll set the scene here a little bit, and that the last time we spoke through Camp Notes a couple days ago, J.J. McCarthy was coming off a string of sort of, not just him, but like the entire first team offense and the second team offense just behind the defenses, right? And you could characterize those practices as a grind to gain yards and move the football for the offense. So curious to hear how our guy has been looking since the last time we talked.
Grind is probably a very good word. I will say this. Friday was better. I think Saturday was the best full pad practice McCarthy and the first team offenses had. But let's talk about the fact it got fiery. It got feisty.
Let's go.
It got combative, which is not surprising. Like, this is the time. And it's weird because, like, the last 2 days, temperature-wise, were fantastic. Perfect days to practice as far as being tepid. Now, the smoke doesn't help from the Canadian forest fires, especially on Friday. It felt pretty stifling. But Saturday, I think we are tired of practicing against each other in full pads. But let me get to what I think is the most important takeaway I saw, and it has nothing to do with a pass. It has nothing to do with a run. It has to do with something you either have or you don't. And that is this. In one of the combative things, what happened was, in fact, it was back-to-back plays. So Aaron Jones catches a check down from McCarthy, and Brian Asamoah basically lays him out. Like he hits him.
He like shoulder checks him down.
Yeah.
Like you would in a real game. Yeah.
And probably not the best idea with Jones, but it's football. And so just to set this up, what happened was, okay, Jones goes down. He's not upset. Like I think he's a little bit not shaken up, but he's like, wow. And Asamoah extends his hand to, say, hey, I'll help you up now because it's football. And Will Fries, who does not know as much about Kevin O'Connell's distaste and hate for fighting and mixing it up in practice, Will Fries comes and shoves Asamoah, who then throws a punch at Fries, gets broken up pretty quickly. But first of all, I sort of liked it because while O'Connell doesn't like fighting, I like the fact that the new guy, the right guard, like, you want nasty, right? And he's like, I'm not going to put up with this crap.
That's my running back. Yeah,
that's
running back. Yeah.
So I'm like, I love this. Like, O'Connell's probably like, I don't really like this. And I'm like, Kevin, this is great. So let's go to the next play. So the very next play is a handoff. And this is probably one of the most important plays in camp, just from a perspective of what happened. Tyler Batty comes in and lays out poor Aaron Jones again. So
this is now back-to-back plays.
Yes.
It's full pads, but you're not actually tackling. It was full pads, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's supposed to be sort of you thud the guy up, right?
Yeah.
But like the defense is getting combative, which they've been the entire time, and becoming more progressively more combative because you're a defensive guy in pads for the fourth time in 6 days. And so Batty, who's not going to make the roster, but he lays out Jones. So Jones is down again.
Poor Judd.
And poor, he's not upset. Like
He's like, I'm in my 30s. I'm just trying to get through camp, guys. What are we doing?
Well, okay. So who immediately rushes Batty? J.J. McCarthy. And he goes in and pushes him. And now this sets off, partially, I think, to defend McCarthy, this sets off what I would call a dust-up. Like, not a huge fight, but it's a dust-up. But I think that alone right there, because that's an either you got that or you don't. Like when we talk about the it factor, right? Like there's a lot of vague statements guys like us make about, I think McCarthy has the it factor as far as being a leader, as far as being a captain. And then the justifiable question back is, what does that even mean? Like what are you doing? Well, this is it. He went in there and he didn't hesitate. And he's like, I'm defending my running back and my teammate. And you know what? Get lost, man. I love that. I think that is such an important, and how many Vikings quarterbacks, Phil? I mean, you've been covering training camp for years now as well, and been to a ton of practices. How many times have you seen a Viking quarterback? And I don't care if his name's Kirk Cousins, Christian Ponder.
I knew you were going to use this as an opportunity to rip Kirk.
No, I'm just saying, go through the list. Like my first camp in 2005 was a Brad Johnson camp, really. And Culpepper, and then Brad Johnson. But anyway, long story short, this to me is the it factor. It's leadership. It is the I've got your six no matter what.
Yeah, I mean, not all quarterbacks are presented with a skirmish, or I see some people in the comments debating on, do we call it a brouhaha? Is it a skirmish?
It was a skirmish.
Was it a fight? I mean, there was a punch thrown on the first play. Asamoah fries.
Yeah.
But if we were to hypothetically list and rank Vikings quarterbacks, a dust up, that if one of these things occurs and the opportunity presents itself, how likely is it that all of these Vikings quarterbacks going back 20, 30 years would jump in like that and stand up for a teammate? And the answer is probably not that many.
Well, and part of it too is, in defense of the guys that don't do it, you've got a red jersey on. Like, you're not supposed to be really touched at all. What I saw was a guy who loves hockey. That's what I saw.
He does have some hockey DNA.
He went into that. He's a nice guy, and hockey players, as a rule, I think are probably the nicest athletes. As far as just being. But there's
until you cross check the superstar player on their team, and then all of a sudden
exactly. So I just think that. Just having covered this thing for a long, long time, I don't think we can put a price on what we saw there as far as because it's one thing for him to be a leader and to slap guys on the back. I think it's another especially if you're a lineman, right? Well, I did, Czar. I mean, Kirk, I never saw Kirk do it. What I'm saying is I never saw anyone, including Brett Favre.
So, I love it too. I think it's fair to say through 2 weeks of camp, and also just through kind of anecdotally through a year and a half of J.J. McCarthy being on the Vikings roster and in the ecosystem, he has some fight to him. Mm-hmm. He has some feistiness. There's a maturity and a leadership quality about him that sometimes it takes guys until they're older than 22 to fully develop, or a lot of guys just never have that part of their personality. So a lot of really good signs on that front. But if I could push forward into Judd's camp notes, what about actually moving the ball and hitting receivers and running the offense? That's great. Leadership stuff, those are all prerequisites, I think, for being a high-end star starting quarterback. But then also at some point, you got to get a first down. You got to put points on the board.
And that's what's been improving. So in the last... Oh, boy. So the last two full padded practices before Saturday were Wednesday and Friday. And at the end of those, they did essentially 2-minute drills down by different sets of points. And in each of those, they move the ball, and they move the ball more efficiently. Now, on Friday, McCarthy did a great job. In fact, I'll find my notes here. McCarthy did a fantastic job of getting his team down the field. I think they started at the 40-yard line of the offense, and they went run, and then 4 consecutive passes. And McCarthy, in fact, the run was McCarthy for 7 yards. I charted that part. And then he completes 4 consecutive passes, and then they bang their timeout. So this is a really good drive. The situation, the offense down by 6, 1:15 left, 1 timeout, and the drive started at the 45-yard line of the offense. And now the Cardinals' sin here was they got to the 11-yard line of the defense, and they're down again by 6 points, and McCarthy takes a sack. Can't happen.
Yeah.
Like, just can't happen. But, short of him being bad in practice and falling apart, this is all about what positive steps do you take versus the negative step, which can be seen as a learning experience. And I thought those last 2 days before Saturday in those 2-minute drives, including the one I just described, had a lot of good. Like, you are moving the ball against a defense that at times was kicking your ass. Now, the sack's a problem, and I'm sure that got addressed big time in film. But that takes us into Saturday, and I saw enough there where you sort of got to sort the bad and the good out, and because he's not going to look perfect.
Yeah.
The question is, how does he look? How does the arm look? How does the decision-making look? And I'm going to put you on one thing that we probably haven't talked enough about because it seems so stupid for a National Football League quarterback to be good at, but it has to be there. And you've seen this too. His control of, and I'm not joking here, getting out of the huddle and controlling the line of scrimmage is really good.
Real quick, those are things that sound really just benign and basic. And like, what do you mean? Like, getting out of the huddle? Yeah, the amount of, when you're learning an offense, the amount of verbiage. So the coach, it sounds basic, and we take it for granted because when you're watching football on TV and the play clock starts at 40, you're spending 20 seconds just kind of like waiting for them to get out of the huddle and then get to the line of scrimmage. But so much of the success of a play happens between the play coming in, just literally like the most basic things you can think of. The play coming in, the quarterback regurgitating it clearly so that everyone understands as quickly as possible to get up to the line of scrimmage so that you can diagnose then what you're looking at and then make a decision post-snap. And people way smarter than us will tell you that, especially in Kevin O'Connell's offense, a lot of the answers to the test happen before the ball is snapped, and you already kind of know based on the play, the check, the coverage that you're looking at, or the defensive front, you kind of know, like, it's either going to be this or this. These are my 2 answers. Not that it's as easy as, like, always completing a pass. So, yeah, that is something to monitor and drill down on. And even just like the presence and the confidence of, if you're getting your ass kicked as an offense for 2 or 3 practices, is your body language starting to slump? Are your teammates sensing that the play is over before it starts because you're defeated after 2 or 3 bad practices? Or do you still come with that leadership and that confidence and all those things? Like, again, it sounds super basic, but it's a really important thing to watch for a young quarterback.
Yeah, in fact, I laughed at the time, but when Brad Childress had Tavares Jackson, he called it spitting the play out. Can you spit the play out? Which sounds like, okay. But it's true, because there's verbiage upon verbiage to understand, and you also have to identify things. So, yeah, he, I think, looks very comfortable with that, and that is a big thing to get past, because that's not something that you want to be dealing with right now, and the Vikings aren't. Let's get to his day, though. So, among his best passes for McCarthy on Sunday, he had a gorgeous pass down the left sideline for what I had as a 21-yard gain in 11-on-11 to Jordan Addison, who himself had a bad day on Friday. I don't know what was up. He had a bad day. He actually had a ball where McCarthy gunned it over the middle. But Addison should catch this, okay? Mm-hmm. I mean, it was thrown hard, but I'm not going to rip the kid for throwing hard every single time. And I saw this on Twitter because the fans are doing a great job of documenting camp. Addison two-handed, tips the ball. Theo Jackson picks it off. Okay, that goes as a pick against McCarthy, but that's a ball. And Jordan was real distraught. That's a ball Jordan has to catch.
Let's talk about that play for a second. And I think it was Dustin. I can't remember Dustin's. It's TikTok Dustin, and he's putting all these clips out probably to chagrin of the Vikings to
Kevin
some
O'Connell
extent.
not liking that, yes.
And there's other fans that are doing it too. And it's kind of cool. You get to go back, like the assembled media inside the ropes. Like Judd can't film plays once the individual stuff stops, but like fans in the stands, there's some good clips floating around out there. So I was going to ask you about that play. That was an example of he's got a fastball and he's going to zip that ball into sometimes tight windows. But in this case, like Addison was pretty wide open, but he got the ball there pretty quickly. And the ball was a little too hot for Jordan Addison to handle. But watching that play, it didn't feel like an unrealistically hard fastball. It felt like, okay, he zipped it, but like that's one of the best number 2 receivers in the NFL. And this is the NFL. Like you're going to have to catch some passes that get on you pretty quickly. Is that one that JJ needs to layer better with velocity, or is that just, hey, Jordan Addison, dude, you got to catch that ball? Ball's got to
be caught. That ball's got to be caught. And going back to watch it, I couldn't find a fault with like the pass. Like, was it slightly behind Jordan? I didn't see that. Like, yes, it came in hot, but you just said it. If you are one of the best number 2 receivers in the entire league, you got to catch that ball.
Yeah.
And you certainly can't, and I know it's a mistake, but you certainly can't tip it up. Like that became an insta-pick. Like it was perfectly tipped. So no, I actually saw that pass as an encouraging play because it was deep enough down the field where the ball had to have juice. Like if you try to get cute with that pass in terms of its speed, it also could be picked off.
Yeah.
So no. And Jordan went back to behind the play because I think he came out after that and he must have spent a good chunk of time on one knee, his head buried in his hand, and like teammates were coming up like, it's okay. So he knew.
It's interesting.
Like he was really down about it.
It's kind of interesting that he's an established receiver at this point, right? Like one drop in a training camp practice isn't going to change his trajectory, but the fact that he's that upset over it, like good. I want him to feel that, right? You want the Vikings players to care. I also wonder if maybe the weight of an impending suspension is... Would he already know if he's been suspended and they just haven't announced it?
I was half expecting him to get suspended at 5 o'clock on Friday with the way he was acting. I thought he had a bad practice. Like he seems like something, I don't know if he's been told it's coming or what, but yes, he seems like a guy, if you watch him, who has something on his mind. Which, I mean, if he's going to be suspended, he should. But anyway, that ball has to be caught. But I do give, because of the practice, I do give J.J. McCarthy points for what I thought was a really nice pass. Let's get to a couple more. 7-on-7. Neither of these was caught, but ladies and gentlemen, this is training camp. I'm not judging on if they're caught. I'm judging the receiver on that. I am judging J.J. McCarthy on did he throw a nice ball. And I want to give you 2 examples of very nice balls that weren't caught. One was a play, and both of these catches, just to be very clear, were tough, but it's the National Football League. This is a difficult league.
Football.
The first one was Josh Oliver, who ordinarily catches everything, which is funny because he's known as a guy that couldn't catch, despite the fact in college his statistics on catching were very good. The other one was more disturbing. Deep pass, really nice deep pass down the middle of the field. You want to talk about layered, baby? We got layered here. Jalen Naylor covered by Jeff Okudah, and Jalen goes up, and again, it's tough. Doesn't catch it. Needs to be caught. Second time that Jalen has not caught a pass in training camp, at least like that he needs to catch. Like these are called contested balls for a reason. And Okudah made a nice play, and that's awesome. But both of those passes were pretty difficult passes by the quarterback, and both of them were well thrown. Both of them should be caught. And what I'm judging is, did you make the best pass possible? Because this league's not, you don't get wide open guys a lot. What you get are, do you have guys that can make contested catches? And the answer in this case was both of those balls could have been caught, and the Naylor ball should have been caught.
So I don't know that the first 2 weeks of camp practice is going to drastically affect the wide receiver depth chart. But just for fun, Jefferson number 1, Addison number 2, even though that's another thing. Like just a quick side street. We probably haven't used the asterisk of Jefferson being out almost entirely for the first 2 weeks of training camp as a viable reason for why the offense isn't moving the ball that well, right? Like for the first 5 days, it was no Darisaw at left tackle and Will Fry's mixing in, and if the offensive line is fully intact and Jefferson is back at some point, I expect that offense to have a better chance to move the ball. But I digress. Who would you say has, if you're looking at that third wide receiver spot, not depth chart rankings, but just who has been the best wide receiver, not counting Jefferson and Addison, from what you've observed in camp?
Boy, Ty Felton's pretty raw still. The hands have to improve. I don't love how he catches the ball yet. I was actually filming individuals yesterday, and it's funny, but if this makes any sense, watching Felton catch the ball at times, he's almost fighting the ball instead of accepting it. Like you watch receivers that are good, they're silky smooth hands, right? Why? Because the ball, they accept the ball. It's like catching in baseball, right? Like a good catcher. A good catcher it sort of just comes in, and that's how you become good at framing. Felton sort of is like this a little bit. Okay. So now he's going to make the roster, and I have no idea. It's way too early to pass judgment, but I mean, he did drop some balls in college. Here's what I think we have found, because I think Naylor is a fine 3, but I think what the Jefferson absence has done, and we'll get more into this tomorrow, I think that what the Jefferson absence has done is show you why Naylor is a 3. He's not a 2. He's not a 2. And maybe Jordan's not a 1. I don't know on that either. But like everyone right now fits their role when Jefferson is healthy. And quite frankly, Jalen Naylor, because of the Jefferson absence, has been asked to do a lot more than he ordinarily would be. And he's not that guy. Doesn't mean he's bad at his job. But he is also, like you see some of the problems from last year reemerging more now in training camp because he's the 2.
Colin Ireland just popped a question here in the YouTube comment section. There are some veteran wide receivers available still in free agency, or even like Thielen would be available via trade if you floated the Panthers a late round pick.
Sure. And
he brings up Amari Cooper. If Addison gets suspended, and I'll even add the context of if you don't love how your other guys are playing, could a guy like Amari Cooper or a trade for just a veteran receiver make some sense in 3 weeks from now?
Yes, it absolutely could. Absolutely could.
Keenan Allen, right? He's still out. Keenan Allen visited someone this week?
Yeah. Now,
but I think he's still out there.
I will say a guy who has emerged as seemingly a McCarthy favorite from like the massive group of guys, Lucky Jackson.
Yeah.
But if Addison gets pinched for 3 games, I think you could make a pretty good case that it might be smart to look.
And Rondale Moore on paper feels like a fun potential number 3 guy, but he's with not. The injury history and
he's not.
You don't see it.
No. I could see him again. He could be on the 53. He could return punts for sure. I think he's more of a gimmick guy. I don't see him as a viable. If Addison gets suspended for 3 games to start the season, I don't know if this team right now has a number 2. A true number 2, like a guy that you could trust as a 2.
You know who it would be, and maybe I'm jumping ahead in Judd's camp notes.
Judd's camp notes.
Come on,
TJ Hockenson.
football.
But he limped off the field yesterday.
Yes, he did. And let's get to that in 1 second, because I've got the pass of the day, the play of the day from McCarthy as well. So this is the pass of the day as far as I'm concerned, because it comes in a very important territory. And it's the type of passes we've talked about JJ's not been great on. 11 on 11, red zone period. Nothing more important, right?
Mm-hmm.
And McCarthy, I think this is approximately from like the 10 or 15. It's hard to see from our perch what the yard lines are way to our right. But McCarthy goes back to pass. Addison runs a route, back corner of the end zone. If I'm not mistaken, Dwight McLaughlin, who's had a good camp, is on him. And he's on him pretty well. McCarthy puts the ball up high. Jordan goes up and makes the catch. It was absolutely what you want. Tough play, contested ball. Everything about it wasn't easy, but it worked. It was a touchdown. And I feel like we have harped quite a bit, 7-on-7 at least, on McCarthy's shortcomings passing in the red zone, which is also a very difficult place to complete a pass because the real estate's not there. This was a hell of a play for both JJ and Jordan Addison.
Yeah, I mean, those types of plays. You think about Sam Darnold's shortcomings, it would be intermediate, kind of tight window accuracy, right? He's just a little inaccurate or hesitant to throw some of those passes, and you saw him sail all those throws against Detroit. Well, those are those intermediate crowded space passes, that's how you score touchdowns through the passing game in the red zone. And then running the ball in. Like the two most common ways that you score touchdowns, crowded field close to the end zone, are tight window throws and running the football. And the Vikings just were not good at either of those things last year. Cousins, going back a generation of quarterback, was pretty good at those little tight. He'd zip one in there, find Thielen sitting on the goal line, whatever it may be. So
absolutely, yeah.
If McCarthy can be better in that range, just throwing the 50-50 ball in the exact right spot, and if they can be better as a run unit, run blocking, and Jordan Mason down there, they're going to score more touchdowns inside the 20-yard line.
All right, so now on to what you brought up as we transition in Judd's camp notes.
You want the sounder?
I got a sounder.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Don't be afraid because one person complained about the sound.
Upset the audience.
Don't be afraid.
We
You know
want
what?
More camp notes.
Football.
I talked to a couple sets of fans on Saturday. They love the camp notes. They love the sounder. Don't let one Buzz Killington let us not have these great sounders. Anyway, yes, TJ Hockenson made a nice diving catch. He also dropped a couple of passes. He has not been as good of late as he was to start camp, but then to what you just said, he didn't limp off the field. He limped away from a drill, went and got checked on. It appeared to be lower body, to use a hockey term, distress. I don't know if it was a groin. I don't know if it was, I couldn't tell exactly. He was checked out. He stayed on the field for the rest of campus, or for the rest of practice, went off the campus, and then went into the trainer's room. Long story short, I'd only practice on Monday. I don't know what's wrong here. But not a good sign.
What was his level of limping? Would you say was he walking gingerly?
Yeah, perfectly put.
But he wasn't being helped.
He would have left. He would have left the practice fields if it was worse.
Okay.
So he clearly tweaked something, but I don't know. I mean, my first thought is a groin because he was trying to stretch after that. Like he went and watched the rest of practice behind the play, of course. And he was trying to sort of stretch. So my only guess is, because I don't think you try, the way he was moving, it didn't look like a hamstring stretch. Yeah. Like he was going sort of side to side, like he was trying to get it stretched out, which I would guess is a groin. But yes, it's cause for concern because if he's out, obviously Josh Oliver, who we like, kicks up to a 1, but he is more of a blocker. Gavin Bartholomew, I have not seen yet, and he's got a back, so I'm growing concerned there.
It's a really thin position group.
It really is. It was sort of thin to begin with.
It was. I mean, you're literally. My guess is you're seeing like UDFAs jumping into if they're running 2 tight end personnel with the first team offense. You're getting literally like undrafted rookie free agents that are jumping in at this point.
Correct. And we saw them like by the time that TJ was out, he missed the red zone drill. Yeah, it was Urasek, Nesbitt, Giovanni Ricci. So you talk about thin. If Hockenson, and he might not miss time, I don't know. But if he does, and I haven't seen if Bartholomew, now I guess he could be in street clothes, but I haven't even seen the guy.
At this point, he's a 6th-round pick.
Yeah.
I would think they would lean because you can't put him on the 53, really. Like when you miss the first 2 weeks of camp as a rookie, it's so hard to play catch up. So their only course of action is to just put him on would it be injured reserve or pup or whatever it is to start the season so that you can stash it.
Or if it's a back, you might just use the season-ending IR.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I mean it's really unfortunate. But if we're going to have a discussion about where are you going to scan the waiver wire eventually or get a guy off his couch, tight end becomes one for sure now.
Yeah. Real quick here, because we'll do like a couple more minutes and then
Yeah, I got one more thing left. Yep.
we'll save some stuff for Monday to like some bigger picture themes. This one from Bloody Soup 74. He asks about Donovan Jackson. Is he forklifting anyone? I think some of the bigger theme stuff like that, because they don't. It's like a walkthrough today, so there's going to be no camp notes from today. It's closed to media today.
Yep.
But I'm going to add that to the list of you're going to do stock rising, stock falling tomorrow as part of Judd's camp notes.
Yep.
But I think we can touch on some bigger theme stuff like the rookie left guard, just in general over the course of 2 weeks. So I'll add that to the list for tomorrow's Purple Daily.
All right, let's end on this one. I'm going to ask a question, and then I'm going to answer it, because that's how Judd's Camp Notes rolls. Ladies and gentlemen, do we have a kicking problem?
Oh, boy.
Do we have a kicking problem? All right, so yesterday, for the third time in camp, we ended practice with a kicking drill. I don't know if you call it a drill. With Will Reichert kicking from various distances. How does that sound? Whew. Now, from the perch, I don't think there's flags to look at. So from the perch, it did not feel like a super windy day. I mean, yeah, there's a breeze, but it didn't feel like one of those, oh my gosh, the ball is being tailed right or left because this wind is a tropical storm of some sort. It's
not Soldier Field in November.
Yeah. So let's start with that one. Will Reichert made field goals from 38, 42, and 42 yards. He missed from 36 and 33, and almost everything was hooking with a hooking left. Like if he was a golfer, right?
Yeah.
Like the ball is going left. And like he made some of the makes were inside the goalpost left. It was very, very weird. And now in 3 kicking periods, he is 13 of 18.
Yikes. So 13 of 18 with multiple misses inside 40 yards.
With one doink. He doinked a 53-yarder a couple days ago off the left, but again, it went off the left. The ball is being pushed left. I thought it was the wind that day, but I might be wrong about that.
But right now they only have, in terms of like position battles, they have 2 punters in camp. They only have 1 kicker in camp.
Correct.
Reichert.
There's no competition.
So right now there's no competition. But like if he has a couple more clunker practices, I do wonder if they would. I think they would.
Albino Slug is a good comment for me.
Of course, it's left. Yeah. Oh, we don't
miss right. Are you new here, Judd?
He's right. Gary Anderson, Blair Walsh. There's 90 guys on a training camp roster, so there would be room to like say goodbye to a depth defensive lineman or something.
Sure.
But I think in general, the coaching staff doesn't want to rob from the defense and the offensive positions, which because you need depth during these dog days of camp and guys kind of limping off the field and stuff. To bring in a second kicker would be problematic for multiple reasons. So the best course of action here is Will Reichert. Come on, guy. What are we doing here? Big Leg Bill. We need you back. What's going on?
And he's a draft pick.
Yeah.
1 year removed from what was a magnificent rookie season until he got hurt.
Yeah.
But I'm just telling you, Vikings fans know this. Keep an eye on that one.
Classic.
It's concerning. I'm not going to lie. It's concerning. 13 of 18 is not good.
No.
I mean, it's great in 1974.
It was actually, yeah. When the kickers would like set their lit cigarettes down on the field while they backed up with
and their beer,
their straight ahead kicking approach.
You know what?
You put the beer down, the cigarette on the top of the beer.
He who cast the first stone on that, okay?
It's no judgment zone. We're not judging 70s kickers. Good stuff. Judd's Camp Notes here.
Football.
Brunch with Judd's Camp Notes.
Yeah, that was Eggs Benedict right there, you think? Little Eggs Benedict?
Little football
Bloody Mary
biscuits and gravy.
or mimosa?
I think that was a Bloody Mary with a bump of, your favorite light beer.
Oh.
A chaser.
Great. Awesome stuff.
I think that's what you and I might go do right now, actually, with our gals.
Right.
So, yeah, Judd's Camp Notes tomorrow, stock rising, stock falling, exercise. We'll have our hottest Vikings take either Monday or Tuesday. By the way, just for people who are wondering, how much animosity is there between the sports dad Judd and Jeremiah Searles from the O-line committee after Jeremiah ranted about people that chart training camp.
But not
passes
knowing I
and
did it.
stats.
Right?
Well,
It
he didn't
started off.
when he started the rant. He didn't know specifically that you did, but he's very excited. So Jeremiah, Alex does the trenches film breakdowns with us throughout the season the last few years. Jeremiah will be a regular contributor on Purple Daily, at least monthly, every single month, starting next week. So we're going to have a little O-line committee crossover with Jeremiah Searles on Purple Daily on Wednesday, August 6th, in a couple days. Beautiful. And you guys, we'll just, me and Declan can just back out of the ring, and you guys can fight each other about the value of tracking training camp
I got to be honest. I think it's just going to be two different points of view more than a fight, because I think what both of us are going to say is going to be justifiable, but we come from very different worlds.
It's gonna be glorious.
Well,
So,
and as I have always said, if you don't like us making assumptions, then tell us exactly what you're doing. That's what I've always said about, well, you guys don't know offensive line play.
They'll give us. The offensive line play thing is great because like those guys' mission, Jeremiah and Alex, is to educate all of us.
I know,
about
which is
offensive line play.
So like we're on the same page there.
It's more of a Kevin O'Connell thing. Well, you guys don't know. Okay, well, what
and that was a big Zim
there?
thing. That was a big Zimmer thing. Is you guys don't know what you're looking at, and my response has been, okay, that's awesome. You are exactly right. So tell us exactly. So if the right guard didn't screw up the play, who did?
Yeah,
Because your quarterback didn't get sacked because a magical sack fairy came in and sacked him.
Tell us specifically who should be thrown under the bus, and we'll all be happy. So, all right, he's Judd. I'm Phil. Judd's camp notes pretty much every day here on Purple Daily. At least when they don't have these off days.
When they practice.
Yeah. And we're looking forward to another great week on Purple Daily here. Again, click that like button and the subscribe button, and we'll see you guys. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die.